Niillä on semmoinen 15 tommoista isoa. Yhteensä niillä on joku semmoinen 60-70 ahventa veneessä. Tuossa on ne isommat. Niin.
Joo, otetaan toinen ammattimies meidän kyytiin ja koitetaan, jos itsellekin lohkeisi tollanen. Nyt on mukana todellista ahvenenkalastuksen osaamista. Siinä on Jonne, Ahvenanmaan kovin ahvenmies.
Regular jig fishing is almost the best. Depends on, if it's hot water you could fish crankbaits. But I fish 90% just regular jigs on the bottom, because you can increase the speed and fish them in the middle water or on the top water too. So we have a ribster shad jig that's ribbed more than the regular. This push water too, and with the stand-up head it's push more water and make the paddle movement a bit more faster than the regular ones. Often they pick it from the bottom standing like this, or they take it in the drop. And this is the favorite box. It's all natural color. You got the red ghost. This is also shining up, they see it from underneath. Then you have the regular color, like take the bait fish. This is the minnow one. So it's just regular colors. I don't fish like fire tiger and those, because I don't believe in them by myself. So, but today those one has been the best one. So this was new when I started this morning, and it's already half broken. I caught a few pikes also, but it's, you see, it looks like someone went over it with sandpaper.
Can I try that special head?
Yes. I can rig one with a new jig. You can try the jig too. As high up in the back as possible.
Okay.
It rips the jigs, and the jigs will be broken after a while, but it makes you a larger hook gap.
Yeah.
Because if you hide the hook inside the body of the jig, you will have a smaller hook gap.
It's not so effective.
No, and you lose a lot of fishes. So a thumb underneath it. Perch arrives in those shallow places, and they come into the channel when it's cold. So they are not staying over summer. Yeah, they are staying over summertime, but not as much. So, but often when the water is under 10 degrees, they are traveling back and forth in this channel, seeking for the bait fish that stays in the weed lines. And now in September they start to come, and they move from that side over there, and they stay in the shallow spots inside to eat bait fish that has been there over the summer. But it's a bit too early. When the water gets colder, they are coming inside, because they know that the bait fish are here. But when the water is still hot, they can get the bait fish outside those areas. But when the water temperature drops, they are starting to gather together, and they are traveling back and forth to eat as much as they can. I should say that around 10 is good, and under it the fishing gets slow, but you have a better % chance to catch the bigger ones, because they seem to come after the schools of smaller perch. And you find them actually in this archipelago. You find the bigger ones outside the schools of smaller perch, because they are taking advantage of the smaller perch chasing out the bait fish, and the big ones can just grab what they want. So they don't do the job for themselves. They have someone else to do it. So they are actually quite smart. If I compare the time I was fishing a lot with boat, you have the opportunity to move around a lot, and you also miss a lot of fish. Because if you had a slow time for a few hours, you think for yourself that okay, I have to move because I have to find them on another place. But 10 minutes after you move, the perch can arrive.
Yeah.
So I'm actually fishing float tube. I'm forcing myself to stay on one spot, and that has been really effective, because When I was fishing a lot of boat, my personal best on perch was 1,700 kilo, and that's a good perch, but it took me a while for it, and I couldn't hire my personal best to a bigger one. But since I started fishing from float tube and actually focusing a lot and have a few hours on the same area, I found out that the bigger ones will come. It's just a matter of time. So yeah, I could say I have learned myself to force myself to stay on the right spot, waiting for the perch to arrive instead of searching them. But sometimes during fishing in harder conditions you can search them, and actually if you're fishing new water and try to find places where you know that the perch will be. I usually fish from 2.5 meter down to 1/2 meter. But this time of the year it's hard to fish those places. You can fish them weedless with weedless hooks and small lead heads that doesn't think to the bottom as fast as. But when the water temperature is too hot, you have a lot of weeds and you're struggling with weed all the time. Throw it out close to the weed line as you can come. Let it go to the bottom. Twitch it a few times. Let it stay. Twitch it. Not the same pattern all the time. That you could move. Like you can have two twitches, one stop. You can have 5 twitches, one longer stop, and on like that. All like the same pattern as with jerk baits, that it doesn't have the same movement on the jig. And the reason I stop it on the bottom, if I cast out and find in a school of perch and attract the perches, they will see the jig, they will follow it, but they might not take it if they are not on the take. But if I let it stay, it forced them to see what it is and take it. So basically, if I was fishing float tube today,
Yeah.
I would go in those channels, search a few meter, see if I have contact. If I have a contact, I will probably stay on that place for an hour or a half hour and see, and then move just
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fishing for big perches, it's hard. Sometimes it's hard, but it comes a day when it pays off, and then you are really glad that you have hammered that area, because you find a movement pattern of them, because they could be in the morning time, they could be at places that you have a current, that you have bait fish. In the middle of the day they can move out to a deeper hole in the bottom or against the weed line or something. And if you really know, if you have been fishing that place and hammer it and had days with non-fish, had days with a lot of fish, you feel comfortable with the place, and you start to build up a movement pattern of the fish. And I can say it's a bit, today's fishing, you can say it's a bit early in the fall, because as colder it gets, the fish comes in, you got a better chance to hit them. It might be a few, not that many perches, but bigger ones. I had to have really early spring days when I have been out for 8 hours and I caught 2 perches. One was 45 centimeter and 1,600 grams, and the other one was 47 centimeter and 1,800 grams. And I had 2 perches in 8 hours fishing. This place it's a typical spawning area in the springtime, and it keeps a lot of bait fish all year round. And now when we're coming into fall time, winter time, the perch are feeding up before the winter because they're starting to get fatter. all my perch rod I fish with 0.13 millimeter line, yes.
Yeah.
And then I use in areas with pikes I use 0.45 millimeter fluorocarbon leader, and from the 0.13 line to the fluorocarbon leader I have a fast touch, a lead, then about 50-60 centimeter leader, and then a fast touch again. But this is just because some might put the fluorocarbon right to the line, the headline. But I use a fast touch because then I can switch. When I'm fishing from float tube I used to have 2 rods, and instead of having 3, 4, 5 different rods for different techniques, I switch. I just take the leader off and then I can put on a Carolina rig or drop shot rig, whatever I prefer.
You can chase faster.
Yeah, I can chase faster. If I feel that I want to fish in the middle water, I could switch to a drop shot rig, and it takes like 10-15 seconds just to prepare the rod. And this rod I use now is catalyst jigging. It's a regular one. It's and it's 7.6 foot, 5 to 25 grams, and that's almost what you need. You don't need lighter. Like you can fish with ultra light in springtime when you want to feel every movement, but it's a main rod. Oh, I got one. This might be. Let's see. Oh, it's not so small, but here we have a. Getting better.
It's not so small.
No, it was a really good one there. Really big perch.
And this is the main size, 35 maybe.
Yeah, that's really nice.
But it's really nice color. Gold green, pitch black stripes, cream white belly, and early as possible. The first hour when the sun is up and the nature are awake, it's the best one. And then you can have a slow period in the middle of the day, like lunchtime, 11 until 3-4 in the
Like
afternoon.
now.
Yeah, like now actually. It's they are feeding, but and then you have the golden hour in like any fishing, salmon fishing, sea trout fishing, pike fishing. When the sun gets lower, get an other angle of the light of the bait, and so they are pretty much as us. They eat breakfast and they eat dinner. That's their main hunting periods. 5 years I fished 95% perch and trying to learn as much as I could, and it pays off, and it's fun when it pays off.
Hauenkuiskaa ja otti hauen.
They might have the same periods when they eat. They are eating from the same menu, but it's a pikes aim for the main course and perch for the dessert. But they are often, when you find big perch, they don't bother to be around pikes because it needs to be a really big pike to take a big perch. So in springtime you're fishing them in the same spawning areas. You can catch a few perches, and when the pike feels that it's activity in the water, they come and they might snap your lure.
Se tuli tästä samassa paikka, missä me tuohon aikaisemminkin tultiin heittämään. Tuli, että mä luulin eka, että se oli hauki, jos hauet käyttäytyy, mutta tosi tukevassa kunnossa oleva ahven. Ja lihavassa kunnossa oleva. Ihan nätti kala.
Mm-hmm.